Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our latest episode of Mornings with Mayesh. It's Yvonne here, and thank you so much for joining us, whether you're listening live or to the replay or the podcast. I love you guys. Super excited about today. I am here with not one, not two, but three very special guests today, all designers from the San Francisco area. I have Claire Marie Johnston, Anastasia, Andematten, and Tiffany Blaylock. I hope I got that right. I'm terrible with names, but I feel like I did a good job on that. While we're getting started, guys, I want to make sure that you guys say hello. Let us know where you are from. And also, while you are watching and we're getting started, I would love for you to hit the share button and let your friends and followers, all your flower friends, honestly, know about this show. That would be great. While we're waiting for some more people to get here, I also wanted to let you know to be sure to go ahead and post your comments or questions in the comment section below. If we have time, we will cover them as always. Good stuff. All right, let's see. All right, we'll keep on going. I also wanted to let you know that if you're new to the show, if you have to leave early, we totally get it. Not everyone has an hour straight to listen to something, especially live on Facebook. So I will be posting the replay to our blog, up on IGTV, YouTube. We could do a podcast. So everything will be very easily accessible on our blog because I post the replay, the podcast, and the show notes from today up on our blog for you guys for your review. Good morning, Rachel. Hi, Penny. How are you guys? Keep it coming. Keep it coming. All right, so we talked about the replay where all that's going to be housed. I also wanted to let you know, if you aren't already subscribed to Mayesh's email, I hope that you do so. I'm going to put the link in our comments and show it on the screen. Just info.mayesh.com/subscribe. That way you guys are always in the know of everything that is happening. All of our news, product updates, new website things, new content, these shows, it's all goes through email. And so I would appreciate it if you subscribed. And that is it. All right, let me bring on all of my lovely guests and we're going to get started. Give me 1 second. All right. Good morning, guys. How are you?
Hi.
Good morning.
Welcome. So before we begin, can you guys please introduce yourselves and tell me a little bit about your flower story? Super excited to have all three of you guys on. It's going to be a great show. And we will start with Claire Marie.
Good morning. My flower journey, well, I grew up with flowers and at my grandparents' house. I spent a lot of time there from Sicily and in their garden, and they had a greenhouse. And then I moved up to San Francisco, and I've tried different art mediums and was doing a little modeling. And then my brother had a flower shop with Patrick at Bloomers, which is still on Washington Street. It's a wonderful, wonderful, beautiful shop. And so I started out delivering flowers and taking home the old flowers and started arranging flowers. And then unfortunately, Patrick had a back problem. And so I had to step up and start arranging flowers with one other designer. And just had to get out of my head and just start, making flowers, and really loved it. And then I was there for 7 years, and I really loved doing flowers in people's homes and working with interior designers. And so I went out on my own. And that was over 32 years ago. And I'm still here.
I love it.
Flowers.
Yeah, I love it because that's what I'm really excited about today. Because Claire Marie, you just said that was 30 years ago, and then we go down to the other side of the spectrum, like kind of in the middle, and then someone that's like brand new to the business. So this is really great. So welcome, Claire Marie. Thank you for joining us.
Of course, thank you for having me.
Anastasia, you want to go next? Oh, I can't hear you. Might be muted. Here we go.
So sorry. Can you hear me?
It's okay. Yeah, I can hear you.
Fantastic. So I'm Anastasia of Anastasia Andenmatten Floral Design, located here in San Francisco. I'm so excited to be here today. Thank you for having me. I love Mornings with Mayesh, so I'm honored to be a part of this today. So I'm a wedding and event designer here, based out of a private home studio. I actually got my start in flowers during my high school job at a flower shop back in my hometown outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So it was an awesome job to kind of start in flowers. I learned, all the behind the scenes. And I was with that shop for a long time, on and off. I would come home from college for holidays like Valentine's Day and see like all of that. But then fast forward, I moved out to San Francisco. I was working 9 to 5 in tech jobs. But I really missed flowers. So I would do flowers on the side for my friends and family. And I would freelance. So eventually I decided I always wanted to own my own business. And I was sick of doing things that I wasn't feeling passionate about. So I just was ready to go full time. So I'm now in my second year of business here, and I'm loving it.
Well, welcome. Awesome. Tiffany, how are you?
Good.
Good. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your story.
So I feel like I would say that I had a soft start, like businesses have their soft opening, because I would say it started when I was an interior designer doing boutique and luxury hotels, and there was this woman, Yetta Morrison, who would come in and do arrangements throughout the studio, and I was like, I want to spend my day with flowers, like doing that. That looks fantastic. And that design studio was like a 15-minute walk to our flower market. So occasionally I could go and just like roam around, and I would feel so happy being around all the flowers, not knowing so many of them. Obviously, just like, okay, I know that's a rose and all that. But so it's like kind of over the years, having this idea dangling in my head that I think I want to go into flowers, but I didn't jump right in. And I finally made the commitment. And I said, I don't want to work behind the computer anymore. So I saved money and I took some time off to like think about it. And then this January, I said, I came up with the name, found the domain, and started get going.
Very good. So you had the pleasure of starting your business right before the pandemic hit.
Yeah, I got my between January and March 17th, like I started my website, got the LLC, everything involved. And then I bought my flower market badge on March 17th, Friday. And then Monday we were on lockdown. And my target client being like restaurants and hotels, since I was familiar with that industry as a designer, all closed.
Right.
And Wednesday was like the saddest photos of 10-foot high piles of flowers from the flower market, and it was closed.
Yes. I know, that is crazy, but I'm glad that you're laughing, smiling, and that you're here. Before we go into more about what you guys have been doing and, pivoting and changing businesses and all of that fun stuff, you brought up the market, and, the San Francisco market is not only changing because of the pandemic, but it had plans about moving. So, Claire Marie, I know that you've been involved a little bit with that. Can you tell us more about the San Francisco market and kind of what's been going on with that?
Well, it's just such a special place. There aren't very many flower markets in the world anymore. Right. And it's just a family. I've known everybody for so long, and you see each other in the middle of the night, dawn's coming up and the people are there for you. And there's a video that you can watch, their 100-year anniversary, if you can go online to the San Francisco Flower Market. But gosh, I don't know how many years ago it started, when the Kilroy came in, the real estate company, and they kind of separated the market, because there used to be, at the beginning of the market, there was the Italian market and the Japanese market, and the back was the Chinese market. And so they kind of divided the market holders, and they bought the Italian market first, and then they went to the Japanese market shareholders, and they got more money for the Japanese market, shareholders got more money. And then they made all these promises. And then that was kind of when the fighting for the market started, with Art Agnos coming in. And that must have been like at least 6 years ago. And then it seemed like we were getting to a good place. And then it was just kind of going back and forth. Started writing letters, and there was gosh, what's it called? Anyway, we got a petition on online, and then I actually made flower arrangements and delivered them to City Hall and the Planning Commission and the Chronicle. And it seemed I went to so many meetings, and I felt so bad for the vendors at the market, because they'd get there at 1 o'clock in the morning, and then they'd have to go to meetings at 1 o'clock. It was just at City Hall, and they just worked so hard. But now it finally looked like it was in a good place, that we had a plan and we had a place. And then the shutdown at the market was just heartbreaking. And it's such a range of people from different backgrounds, and just from all over the world. And so it's that's really, like you said, the mountains of flowers they had to throw away. But Jeannie at the market's done a really good job of getting it back up and running and working with the city. So it's different now, but I think I'm still hopeful. I'm basically a positive glass half full person. And I think, I just want to fight for the market and the people there, and because it is such a special place.
Yeah, well, I love it. And thank you for fighting for the market and doing what you think is best, and just being part of that community. I think that's awesome. I'm sure everyone, all the vendors, really appreciate all of that. So thank you.
Of course. It's not me. It's a whole group of us.
Right. Yeah.
I feel like us here in San Francisco, like, we have to pinch ourselves with how lucky we are having the market. Like, there's so many areas around the country that don't have access to a place like the San Francisco Flower Market. It's one of the largest, I think, in the nation, or easily. And it's like all I know. Like, it's a 12-minute drive from where I live. So it's like, I can't imagine not having it. We are all truly, truly lucky.
Yeah. No, market is really cool. I've never been to the San Francisco one. I've been to the LA one. I've been to the New York Flower District before, and it's just really special places. It's, even compared to like a regular wholesaler, because it's so many flowers and so many different things. And it's just, it's really cool. It gives you goosebumps when you're there. So you guys are very lucky to have that in your backyard. That's amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's the market. Let's start talking a little bit, because you guys all have kind of mentioned a little bit, talking about the changing landscape due to the pandemic that we are currently experiencing. Yay us, right? I love that everyone, I think the thing that's common with all of you guys is that you all are very positive people. You've all been trying to like view things as a glass half full. So let's just talk a little bit about that. Like, how have you been keeping busy? Because I know COVID has hit us all very hard. Anastasia, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. I mean, I think, man, I've been doing like a little bit of everything. Definitely a lot of pivoting. You mentioned being positive. Like, I've definitely found this to be fulfilling in so many unexpected ways. On the business side, I'm doing a lot of like buttoning up and reevaluating a lot of my business, because I have time to. And since I'm in my second year, I feel like I had that first year under my belt, and now it's time to kind of tweak things. So I'm reevaluating. Like, I hired a lawyer and a bookkeeper, and if anyone ever needs things to do, try that, because I feel like it's making me so busy. It was time in my business to do that, and I'm glad, because now I can really like set myself up for success in the future. God forbid things like COVID happen, like that stuff's important. So I've redone my contract. I'm really like reevaluating my pricing and my workflows. I created like an investment guide for my clients and a new proposal design. So I'm just trying to find ways to use this time wisely, because I do want to think about the long term, and I want to think about, this will all be over at one point in time. And where do I want my business to be when that time comes? So I'm trying not to get too down in the dumps. I'm also trying to use the time to continue educating myself. So one thing I'm trying to incorporate more in my business is sustainable design. So leaning on like mentors that I've had and education online. One of my favorite is Alyssa Little of Color Theory Design. So I've been spending a lot of time with her. Again, just trying to use the time that I have wisely. Right. Another thing that I'm finding helpful right now is leaning on our community here. So other vendors that are going through the same thing, and my other, floral designers that I have built relationships with. I feel like when we're in these times of, just difficult, challenging landscape, building these relationships is what's going to get us through together. And next year is going to be crazy. And I feel like if we can work together when next year rolls around, like we're going to need each other's help. So I feel like making sure that we're all leaning on each other is good. And then on the client side, all of my remaining 2020 weddings have postponed to 2021. So I was lucky that I had some winter weddings to kick off the year, but it's been a lot of logistics of just dealing with postponements, like, new contracts, getting new dates and availability. But I've also been trying to create valuable content for my clients. So I've been doing a lot of blogging, and trying to be helpful in ways that,
I love it.
Fun ways to elope in the Bay Area. That's been something now that I have some elopement packages, like ways to get creative, ways to prioritize your wedding floral budget, even like a guide to vision boarding, things like that. Because I know as soon as I get busy again, I'm not going to have time to do any of this. So yeah. And then I think lastly, like I'm spending a lot of time on myself. Like I'm just like, I would never have this chance to like actually do a weekend of camping in the summertime. So I'm doing that, like getting outdoors, getting off social media. I can't tell you how many times a week I delete the Instagram app because I just need to get away from that and take a deep breath. I highly recommend that. And it's just good for mental health right now. But given all the other stress factors, like that's one thing I can control. And that's what I'm going to spend my time on.
No, I love it. And I love that what you said about the content and doing those types of things, because you know that you're not going to have the time once it gets going again. So are you creating content for later too that you're not going to post yet, but maybe like creating a little backlog of some things so that way it looks like you
That's a great question. I have a backlog. I basically have this like dump of information I'd love to talk about and share with my audience, and questions that I get a lot from my clients or from prospective clients. So I do have a little bit of a backlog, but I have this like, as soon as I get an idea, I just kind of get on it and I just need to like put it out there. So I have a list of some things that I'll save, but as soon as something's done, I just like want to publish it. So I need to like maybe like rein it back a little bit and save it for later when that would come in handy. But yes, I'm definitely doing a little bit of backlogging.
Great. That's great. That you're like speaking my language, because that's what we do.
Yeah, if anyone wants anything, just Instagram DM me and I'll get it on the list.
I love it. And maybe you can send over some examples to share with people, like some of your blog links. That would be great.
Yeah, definitely.
Tiffany, what have you been up to?
Everything is new for me. So I've spent the time like experimenting, exploring, learning, foraging. I have had the opportunity. Well, at first I was like, okay, let me get signed up with some local growers since the flower market's closed, and keep buying flowers and just like test out my hand making bouquets, doing vase designs. And then I would just put them in the lobby of my building and like write a positive message and just be like, let me share the flowers. Or I'd knock on my neighbor's door and like stand away. I'm like, I just want to leave you flowers because I have a ton and I'm working with them and I want to share them. And then I got the opportunity also on that Friday when I just got my badge. I met another floral designer at McCondre, where I will talk about in just a second. But it's allowed me the opportunity to do like pop-ups with another floral designer and then on my own, just like doing bouquets. And then I thought, well, I never really intended to do bouquets. I really want to work big, and I want to work like with the hospitality industry or retail and things like that. So the interesting thing that I've done to keep busy is do wall installations, because the places that are open, like my way to work with the restaurants and the community is to do outside installations. People are making parklets, and I'm like, they're all outside, so let me bring it outside. So
I love it.
just learning that and just being inspired and meeting other artists like you guys and learning the bookkeeping, learning how to market and everything. So I'm just like, okay, it's kind of a great opportunity because, like Anastasia, you said, it's affording the time to go behind the scenes and take some time to learn and clean up. And
Yeah, and in your case, just kind of get it all set up and squared away so that way you're just off and running.
yeah.
Very good. Claire Marie, how about you?
Well, when everything shut down, we really did just shut down. And I've always worked out at home. And so I just felt I needed to just be safe and be with my family. And we're lucky I live by the Presidio. And so basically I just went for walks and just tried to just be safe and didn't, just reflection and trying to take care of myself. And then things kind of started to open up, and the flower market started to open up. It was like when I started 32 years ago, I started working by myself again, going to the flower market and just being really careful, but working very carefully, doing some flowers in people's homes. And then it's really been hard not having our flower family here, because we work out of our home and it really does feel like a family. So I did start a GoFundMe page for the people that work for us to try to support them. And I was busy in the office, which it's not my strong suit. I've never learned how to type because I didn't want to work in the office. But I had to, apply for everything and trying to support the people that worked for us, and was busy with that. Easter was kind of a renewal time, and I really wanted to make everything pretty. I loved Easter, and I hadn't been to the flower market, but I'm lucky I have a pretty garden, and that was really kind of a renewal time and fairly special time. And then after I started up by myself, then I just kind of reached out we have some weekly clients and clients that we've had for a long time. And it just started to build up. And then actually we never really had a mailing list and never did a lot of PR because it was mostly word of mouth, or I would donate to causes I believed in. And but we sent out, we got in touch with all the clients that had sent flowers for Mother's Day in past years, and it just built up and built up. And so I had to bring in help, and it was really busy, which was good. And we got through it. I was exhausted on Mother's Day. And then everybody has been so supportive and kind. They're longtime clients. And so we've actually been going back into people's homes, and it seems like there's been a lot of birthdays and graduations. And so it's smaller, and we had a big move. We had a storage space down the block from us on the corner of 5th and California. And so we decided it was time to move out of our home, because during the holidays we'll have, like 15 or 20 people working, and hopefully we'll get back to that again. And with this COVID, we just didn't feel like it was a good thing to continue to do. And I was kind of fighting it, but we moved out of the garage and down to the corner, which was just huge. And we purged and got rid of a lot of things. And it's actually really nice to have a different space to go to, and the light's better, the ceilings are higher. it was a lot of work, but it's nice to have a little separation, at the end of the day. And I'm looking forward to hopefully just things getting busier and bringing back my flower team. And there's a lot of freelancers that work with us that I miss as well. And we've been, I've had ideas about smaller, more intimate parties for a while. So we've been reaching out to clients about coming up, and like you guys said, like everything got canceled. The big conferences that we do, and weddings and birthday parties, and we also we did do a couple smaller birthday parties where we do favors, and it switched to masks and thermometers and hand sanitizers. But we made it really pretty, and we're just kind of going, just keep going. And we're like you were saying about the flower market. We're so lucky to be working with such beautiful product, and it's nice to see all the beautiful faces back at the market.
Yeah, I love what you just said, but I want to go a little bit back to the beginning when you really quickly mentioned the GoFundMe page. That's something different that I haven't really heard about other businesses doing for their employees. So can you talk a little bit about that and the success with it?
Well, I just felt like I really needed to do something for them, because I do feel like their family. I love them. And so I just asked for everybody to send me what is it? Their picture, a selfie, and then we put it together. And at first, I just put it on Instagram and on Facebook, and then and it was amazing, the response. And then actually, one of our longtime clients said, "You need to post it again because people don't always look." And so I just sent it out, and then some of the clients, they shared it with other people. And then we did, I guess it was about a month ago, we almost reached our goal. And then about a month ago, we sent out, we put together a mailing list, and I thanked everybody for their support, and the few people that hadn't seen it, then we actually got even more donations. But it all went to our team, like the core team, not to us personally.
Yeah, that's so amazing. That's so lovely that you did that for your team. I love it. And I hope that inspires some other companies and businesses to do that, because I know there are people that want to help other people who aren't able to work right now. And I think that's just a really great story that I wanted to make sure that everyone heard.
Yeah. And then, there's a woman, Lauren, that works at Delano at the flower market, and she's worked with us in the past, and she started one for the people at the flower market, for all the people that work there, not the vendors. And that was really helpful. And I thought that was an awesome thing for her to do.
Yeah, that's amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
So you guys mentioned a little bit already, but how are your weddings and events changing with clients that have already booked with you? Is everything changing? Are the budgets decreasing? The setups totally different? Anastasia, you want to talk a little bit about what you're seeing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm so far lucky in that all of my clients have postponed to 2021, but they're keeping their scope, like the initial scope. I think it's one of these things where they have had these visions for their weddings, these dreams, and they don't want to downsize. They don't want to let that go. And I'm all for that. I'm introducing, or I have like elopement and kind of intimate celebration packages now for anyone that does want to do something on their original date. And I do have a few clients that are like, they're eloping on their original date, and I'm doing kind of like a mini micro kind of package for them. But then they still want the full shebang. They want the party. They want all of their friends and family there safely. Of course they do. So I've essentially just moved their scope to next year. And then for some of them, I'm doing something small for them. So, so far I've been lucky in that, knock on wood, I hope they keep their initial scope. And yeah, but I think just people have their dreams and they don't want to downsize that.
Right. No, I love that. Claire Marie, how about you?
A lot of events have just been, all the corporate things have been canceled, but for the weddings, they're all moved to 2021. I do have one that they're going to have a smaller party in October when their original wedding was going to be, and then they're going to have their big dream wedding next year. So it's kind of like a silver lining. like I guess I get two events,
Right.
But most of the people are just holding off till 2020. I have one client that said that she's going to be exhausted because every weekend there's going to be a wedding next year that she's going to have to go to because all her friends, she has daughters and they're all around that age where they're getting married. So,
Right.
yeah, I think hopefully it'll be a really busy, good year and people will get back together.
Yes, fingers crossed for that. Tiffany, I know you're focusing a lot on kind of the corporate sides of things. Is anything, do you want to add? And I know you're just getting started with your business, but anything you wanted to add to this?
I mean, I'm just thinking about how event-wise, I do work with the floral designer, and I'm going to be having the opportunity. Like, I've supported and assisted him as well. And then actually Saturday, I'm going to work with him to help him do a photo shoot at a couture bridal shop on Sutter and Grant. And it's like 4 stories, and we'll floral everything and the mannequins and the stairs. And so, like, that's a pretty big event, but it's kind of along the lines, I feel, of what I'm getting into, because I'm not really doing weddings, that type of event, but it's like special things and installations. And so, I don't know. I feel like I'm losing track, but
no, that's really exciting. No, that's awesome. We can move on. Anastasia, I can't see you.
Yeah, she went away.
Can we hear you? No. Maybe do a quick refresh and then hopefully she'll pop back on. Hopefully she can hear me. So we'll see. Claire Marie, I had a question on here about contracts. Have you changed your contract at all and like reform things due to us dealing with COVID right now?
No, we don't. We haven't. I feel so lucky and blessed that we work with a lot of longtime clients, and then wedding event planners, and so there's we built up trust, and I just haven't felt the need to do that yet, but we're always open to that. Yeah.
No, very good. Also, Penny, she's always listening. She's always in our audience. We love her. She just wanted to let you know, Tiffany, that Facebook has tons of florist pages and they all help each other. So it's a good resource. I don't know if you're part of that, members of any of it. Yeah, but I love those Facebook pages. I get a lot out of that too. I try to visit at least once a day, but sometimes that doesn't happen.
Relearn Facebook again. I was off it. Like, I've had it personally for a long time, but honestly, I wasn't on it. I would post directly from Instagram and let it send there. So I'd see that I had like all these messages from years ago, and I'm like, oh, I'm on Facebook. And now I started a professional one. So I'm like joining groups and trying to keep up with messages and figuring out, like, how am I signing into my professional one from my personal one? And
it's like one more thing to do all the time for me. Yeah, because it's
like starting a professional Pinterest and
yes,
just everything.
Yeah, all that is so important, and it's crazy. I try to explain to like my friends, like when they message me or whatever, it really does get lost. Cause like for me, I have 19 Facebook pages and 19 Instagrams and or 20 because we're including the corporate ones. And it can be daunting, but I think it's just really important. For us, it's, obviously we keep everything separated, but I think it's good to have a professional one and a personal one. And, like for me, I have 2 little girls. So I get lots of like friend requests, like especially after doing these shows, or like if people like tag me in something, I'll get a bunch of friend requests. But unless like I've sat down with you like face to face and, and all of that, then I really try to keep everything separated, like work to my personal stuff. So,
Yeah, I'm kind of in a quandary about that. Like how, because I have a dog and then we have kids, and I'm like, do I set up a separate one for Shotzi, Instagram account, and then one for my family, and I don't know. I just decided to just have it just be my life. There, she's back.
You guys, my Wi-Fi literally like went kaput for a solid 10 minutes.
It's okay. Like I said, things happen. I make them work. It's all good. I did ask Anastasia about contracts while you were, dealing with your Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Have you changed your contracts due to COVID? Claire Marie shared that she hasn't really updated hers, for various reasons. I just was curious on what you had to say about that as well.
Well, so it was funny because I had actually just, brought on an attorney before COVID happened. And because I never had drafted up, a really, really solid contract. Like I had a contract, but I needed someone to refresh it. So none of my 2020 clients had signed that original contract. So what I did is I had them sign that new contract when they postponed to next year so that they're on the updated terms, kind of like a fresh slate. Everyone across the board has my new terms, which were definitely like designed with COVID in mind. And then, I added, other clauses that weren't necessarily related to COVID, but if anything, it really gave me, it reminded me that I needed to make sure that things were buttoned up. COVID, none of us could have planned for this. None of us really had anything in our contract to cover us in this situation. So it was just a good reminder of me, needing to make sure I cover all the bases with my contract. It's definitely gotten a lot longer, which is unfortunate, but none of my clients had any issues signing it. I just made sure I clearly stated why I changed my contract and the specific clauses that were most important for them to read. I don't think they read all the pages of the contract. Maybe they do, but I wanted them to feel comfortable in why I was having them sign this, what it meant for them, what it meant for me, like why I made that decision, really to benefit and protect us on both sides. So that did go well. And then as it relates, it's kind of like that force majeure piece. If there's a government mandated shelter in place, even for their new wedding date, making sure that we're all covered. But if anything, it made me realize I needed to get more clear with my cancellation and rescheduling policies. So that was a good kind of kick to do that.
Right.
So yeah.
Very good. Tiffany, with you being a brand new business, did you just kind of circle back and was like, oh, well, I should probably look at that now?
Yeah. Well, exactly. I've just been finding out what people are writing in their contracts, and so much of my resources financially go towards learning and courses and feeling like I wanted to focus on the hotel industry. I started following the hotel florist, and I bought an example of her contract, and then just the Bloom bundle I participated in, and
love the Bloom bundle.
accessing information there, and the hotel florist Francesca, she was definitely the tips, the 5 things that you absolutely should put in your contract, and it was an act of God, and that is this falls into that really, or
right.
It's just something we can't count on, and understanding your cancellation policy. So I honestly don't right now have one written, but I have access and I'm learning about them and everyone else's and the templates. So
good. That's great. That's great. Penny had another great question. She said, do you think that the large cathedral weddings are over with everything changing?
My comment on this is I'm currently in proposal with a couple of them. So no, I don't think so. I think people are still, if that's what they've been dreaming about since they were little, they still want that. Maybe it needs to be tweaked for safety purposes, but I don't think so. I have faith that they're not over.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Agree.
What do you guys? Yeah.
I agree. I think it's going to be a while, but I think they'll come back.
Yeah. Big, beautiful places and places that you want to celebrate in is not going to end.
Yeah. I hear you. Roxanne says, what do you think is going to happen with the florist businesses in the near future?
I feel bad that there's not very many beautiful flower shops anymore. And when I started my business, I was working out of my home, which nobody was doing at that time. And there weren't really any design studios, but now there's more of those, and there's not very many pretty shops.
Right.
So I think that's been a big shift. But people need flowers in their lives, and I think the people that do beautiful flowers, they're going to find their audience, and people want flowers, I think.
And I think shelter in place has shown us all, like, flowers are so important for people's mental health, and they want flowers in their home. And the reality is like, we're going to be sheltering in place to a certain extent for a long time. So it is sad to see shops closing, but I think through COVID, and also through just everything that this world has been experiencing, and the movement towards anti-racism, for instance, people want to support local businesses. They want to support real people that are behind businesses. And I think with just education and awareness around that, people want to buy their flowers from real human beings, and not grocery store flowers per se. I mean, I think we'll all say, like, buying grocery store flowers is better than not buying flowers at all, because it's supporting growers. But if we can educate and create awareness around the people and the humans behind the businesses, people aren't going to stop buying flowers.
Yeah, I love that. And so we're really behind telling the stories about people behind the businesses. We just started a new video series called The Beautiful People of the Flower Industry. And so you brought up diversity, Anastasia, and I wanted to bring that up with you guys. And how are you guys thinking about diversity or incorporating it into your business? I would love to hear from you guys on that topic.
Yeah, I mean, since I kind of started that conversation, I think right now this moment in history is marked by so much suffering and sadness, but also for us with privilege, it's been a time for awareness and education, and most importantly, change. And I think diversity in this space it's more than just Instagram and like showing up on Instagram and what that looks like for your business. Mm-hmm. It's everything from, the people that you hire, to the growers and vendors you source from, to the vendors you partner with, and even the places you shop and the small businesses you support. So I think, like, I have so much to work to do in my personal life, in my business, but also the industry does too. And even just San Francisco as a territory has a lot of work to do for uplifting the Black community and people of color. So I think, again, if we can find ways to make these little decisions in our day-to-day in all of those different aspects that I mentioned, that is going to be critical. And just having that, like, daily reminder, this is a lifetime of work that's ahead of us. It can't happen overnight. So for me, I've just been taking a lot of time just to make sure I'm educating myself and I'm understanding as much as I possibly can, from my perspective, which is difficult. But I think having that foundation and then being able to make decisions for my business is going to be important. So again, it's all those different, like, finding from the freelancers that I hire and bring on when that day comes next year, like, God, right, far away. But yeah, and the vendors that you support. So I think we all have a part to play in this, and we all have, like, I have a tiny sphere of influence, I would say. Like, so I think if we all just remember, we have a sphere of influence, and if we can use that to make any change, if we all do that, we can actually see the change that needs to happen.
I love it. Tiffany, Claire Marie, do you guys have anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, I'll go. Some of the things I'm doing is, like, I'm a one-person team, so I don't have another hired person, but I am hiring in the sense of that putting my money towards paying for courses and training from people who are Black-owned business, and just, like, supporting and promoting other friends' efforts who are encouraging people to donate, and then actually donating my own profits towards the Black Lives Matter Fund. So just, like, always supporting. And if you feel like you really don't have that small of a, like you said, Anastasia, you feel like you have a small sphere of influence, but, like saying it right now, you just talking about that right now, and everyone who's hearing it, and any day that you talk about it and someone overhears you, or the person you're talking to, and then they continue, it's a quite a large audience that we can reach and help promote and support.
Taking advantage of the ripple effect is, I think, great.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of social media.
Snowballs for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was talking to my daughter earlier today about diversity in our business, and she grew up in our home seeing all the people that have worked for us, and she said, "Well, I've seen diversity my whole life in the downstairs in the garage, and whether it's people of color, people from all around the world, people LGBTQ community, just people that speak different languages, and we've just always tried to just to be open and to respect all the different communities. And of course we're supporting the Black Lives Matter movement, and we've actually been doing some different signage and things for people that we haven't put online very much, but we just want to continue to support people and just to be ethical and to be good people, and I think a lot of right now is just to be kind to people, especially wearing masks. You can't see smiles and saying, and just
I know you got to smile with your eyes.
Through your eyes, and just to be a little kinder to everybody, and yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. So I love everything that you guys said. And everyone that is watching, I hope that you check out our beautiful people of the flower industry interview. So we have 2 out. I put the link in the comments. And yeah, let's just love each other and uplift everyone, no matter who they are. I think that's what's important.
Definitely.
Yeah, good stuff. All right. So back to business with everything that's happening with the pandemic and COVID and things shutting and reopening and all that fun stuff, postponements. Are you guys considering changing your business model, whether that's adding different services or just completely pivoting your business? What are you guys up to? Tiffany, I know you just started a brand new business. How have your plans changed in terms of what you are thinking you're going to offer to what you might start doing once everything is up and going again?
Yeah, so I thought that I would do florals in the restaurants and hotels, and couldn't because they closed. And as they're starting to reopen, I got that opportunity while I have been getting to know other floral designers and doing my courses and like just understanding a little more about what hotels and restaurants want. And I realized I don't actually think that's what I want to do with my flowers. As far as like they, want it to look exactly the same as it was 1 or 2 weeks later. And just like working with such durable, there are some delicate looking flowers that you can work with, and not that I always want to work with something that's going to die in a few days, but I thought, oh, that'll be so conceptual and unique, because that's how I did my interior design for hotels. But it was boutique hotels. And so anyway, the change has been still towards like the hospitality industry, but to get to really take advantage of my desire to work on an architectural scale. So it's switching right now into doing like these outdoor large installations. And I feel like I can do this like on the private side as well. Because like all those graduations and people saying they're posting in their window like happy birthday or happy graduation, and they want to share with everyone while they can't be together. So it's like we know on their window or their door that someone had a birthday or they turned 21 or 50, and I'm like, I can safely do this beautiful installation outside to like help enhance that, or attract the business or create space or separate spaces or tables through the florals or attach onto the parklets that are being done. So that's how I'm transitioning, and it's really feeling like that's what I was meant to do anyway, and I just got this opportunity to figure it out.
Right. That's awesome. I love it. I love all the pictures that I'm seeing of the large installs on like for at people's homes and things like that. I just think that's a really cool, unique way. And like even our little ones here, you know, they always have like birthday parades. So like, you know, just getting all that together, I think.
That should never stop. Like, I would love to do that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Claire Marie, how about you?
Well, we've always just been really, personalized, and it's not just one look and just working with clients individually a lot. We're going to expand. We have done gift baskets, but they're, really thoughtful and unique. And so we're going to be offering that more. We've spoken with, there's a beautiful store on Sacramento Street that has amazing containers that we're in the works with partnering with, and just open to different opportunities, but just trying to just stay focused on keeping everything, fresh and beautiful, and our standards high.
Yeah, that's great. Everyone that's listening to or watching, or I would love to hear what you guys are doing too with your businesses. Are you pivoting, keeping things the same, adding different services? Love to hear from you guys. Anastasia, how about you?
Yeah. Well, when shelter in place started, I definitely pivoted to the no contact bouquet deliveries, which I think a lot of us did.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it took me straight back to my shop days. I was like very comfortable. I was like, oh, I remember what it was like delivery, logistics, customer service. And you guys know, like, it's a very different business, like having to deliver flowers that, are going to last a while, that you trust, or like going to withstand whatever conditions they are in these people's homes. It was a humbling experience because I feel like, there was definitely demand and people wanted me to keep doing the weeklies, but I had to get really real with myself. Like, it just wasn't the best fit for my business. It wasn't what I kind of planned for long term. So I kind of used it just like a temporary, like, trial and error. I'm learning, I'm still being challenged, again, humbling experience. And it was good, a good marketing vehicle, but I had to just go back to, okay, what's going to make the most sense for my business at the end of the day? I also wanted the, floral shops in San Francisco started to open back up. So I was like, there are people that specialize in this, and I want to support them. So like, go to these businesses instead. And then what I've been focusing on pivoting to is creating kind of like a la carte packages for elopements and more intimate celebrations just for the remainder of 2020. So my goal for that is to make it as like plug and play as possible, try to like streamline the entire end-to-end process and limit, nothing crazy custom, because it's for the couples that really just, they want flowers for that day. And I want to make it as easy as possible for them, but also like fit into my business model. So it's been like perfecting that a little bit. And I'm having fun with these intimate celebrations because I feel like people have a much smaller head count and therefore their budget goes a lot further. So my recommendation is always to do something like Tiffany's doing, installations, because they're high impact. And you don't need to have like 25 centerpieces. So that's been fun. But I think at the end of the day, like, big weddings are going to come back. So I'm trying to take the time to make sure that I'm thinking about it long term and that I can be the best partner for my clients as possible. So just, again, trying to like finesse that. So yeah, fingers crossed, everything will go back to normal one day.
I know, right?
A new something great.
Yes. I have one more question from Penny. She says, do you recommend stylized photo shoots? Do you guys all participate in those? I know Tiffany already just mentioned that. Claire Marie, how about you?
We're at our new space. We're trying to set up I've always wanted to do this. It's going to happen. Set up a place where I can take great photographs of the arrangements that we make. But I haven't done a stylized photo shoot in a while, to be truthful, but would definitely be open to that. I have done a lot of work with designers in people's homes that have been published, and I work with the photographer and the interior designer, which I love doing that. So it all kind of is unique, but it has a flow, and doesn't take away from things, just kind of enhances and softens the environment in someone's home.
Yeah, very good.
I mean, I think photos are everything in this business, and having a visual portfolio, whether it's on Instagram or your website, is crucial to get clients. My biggest takeaway with styled shoots, at least in my own experience, and I'm not a pro, I've only, this is my second year now, but the classic, like one of the first things people do when they start their business is styled shoots. And for me, I self-funded the business, so I couldn't just do a million styled shoots. So I think the biggest thing is like, if it makes sense for your business, I think like understanding exactly what it is that you want to get out of the styled shoot. Is it meeting new vendors? Is it defining an aesthetic and putting that on your portfolio? If you can be really clear on like the vendors that you want to work with, exactly the style that you're wanting to go for, the venue that you want to work at, it has to be strategic and make sense, because it's really like, it's a strategy and it's a vehicle to gain the right kind of target client. So I'm reluctant to take on styled shoots unless they fit this clear criteria that I set. Otherwise, in my experience, they've just kind of drained my bank account, and I ended up really not getting much out of them. So again, I think if you can just get clear on exactly what you want to get out of it, they're totally worth it. Right.
Tiffany, did you have anything to add? I know you're excited for your one that's upcoming.
Yeah, I mean, I love doing them. I almost have my own question about it, I guess, because I feel like that's something I immediately set up, was purchased, and maybe it's just my interior design background, but I immediately purchased linens and things that I wanted to photograph against. And I do my own, I'm my graphic designer, web designer, my photographer. So I do that a lot, and just throughout my house, and I just set up a scene and take photos, and I've done it. I was hired to do it for like a high-end kitchen and bath studio at Elementi here in San Francisco, and just provided, because I think of branding, and so I really incorporate having it, what I do, like the botanicals or florals leaves, look in the same flow or in the same line of what their look is and their brand. And so I provided their florals for their professional photo shoot. And yeah, again, I have the one coming up on Saturday. So I don't find them to cost a ton of money, but I guess that's because you're saying, like Anastasia, you're hiring an outside photographer, and I'm just like, here's my iPhone, I'm going.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful photos. I think it is like having a photo spot, like Claire Marie also talked about, like a spot where you can take photos in your studio is really important. Like, I feel like I suck at iPhone photos, but like that's a good skill to hone.
I'll come over, or you can come.
Yeah, come teach me, please.
Portrait mode. It's the portrait mode.
Yeah, I think I got it. I can so much help. But I think the difference being like those larger scale styled shoots where you hire models, you hire hair and makeup. You usually have to pay a fee to the venue to be there. And there's different ways people do that. Like sometimes you just chip in the florals, but as we all know, flowers can be expensive and they're perishable. They're not just like our time that we're showing up. We have to do like the shopping, the processing, the design, and then we have to deliver and install. And then we still are putting out, hundreds, if not more, of dollars for the flowers themselves. So that's where it gets expensive. And like, again, you can do tons and tons of those, but if they're not meeting some kind of strategy or purpose, then that's money that you could spend on other marketing strategies. But again, photos are so important. So whatever you can do to like get those photos that you need, go for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Of the installations, like the back of you, and you're doing a hanging installation.
Yeah.
I would call that a styled photo, but I think it's like a different scale overall that maybe Penny's asking about.
Yeah, she's talking about stylized photo shoots, I do think it's more of like what Anastasia is talking about. And I love when people use that to start selling a look that they want to be selling, that they haven't gotten a client. I think that's a really great way of using it too, is just being able to build that portfolio or like, let's say you want to, market to a certain type of client, but you aren't getting those clients yet. A stylized shoot is when that kind of helps kind of start attracting those clients. Because if you don't have that to show,
it's a real wedding because no one's hired you to do that love.
Right. Yeah,
The other
exactly.
thing about this, though, is like the publication aspect. So a lot of times, actually, if someone approaches me to do a styled shoot, I immediately ask them, like, are you submitting this for publication? Because that's a big part of, like, you're getting eyeballs on your business. On, some of these publications have tons of viewers in their audience. So if they're taking pictures just to have pictures in your portfolio, that's one thing you want to think about. If they're submitting it for publication in something that you've always wanted to be featured in, like Martha Stewart weddings, that's a contributing factor.
Yeah,
definitely.
Awesome. Well, guys, it is 1:00. That is a wrap. I wanted to just let everyone know. Let me post all the Instagram links for everyone so you guys can connect with Anastasia, Tiffany, and Claire Marie. So be sure to check those out, and you guys can be flower friends after this show. That would be great. Yeah. Definitely connect with these lovely ladies. You guys are so amazing. Thank you so much for coming on the show. The Instagram links are in the comments. They will be up on our show notes too on the blog, so that way you guys will have that as well. And again, thank you guys so much for coming. Was it fun?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Awesome. So everyone, our next scheduled show is for next Thursday. I'm featuring Drew Rio. She's from Rogan Flax Floral Company. If you recall, she was our first interview for Beautiful People of the Flower Industry series. And I'm super excited because we're going to be talking about pivoting. We're going to do a deep dive into pivoting. Drew is going to talk about everything that she's experienced. She's done a bunch of pivoting and starting new services and businesses and all that fun stuff, product lines. So it's going to be a really great interview. So I hope you can make it. While we are waiting for that new show, I hope in the meantime that you just send me over your questions. Go ahead and shoot me an email, DM me, use the contact form on our website as usual. And again, I know we all are going through a really hard time. Thank you again, Claire Marie, Tiffany, Anastasia, for sharing everything that you guys have been going through, how you guys have changed, how you're pivoting. I hope that's helpful, and we are going to get through these times together. I wish all of you guys nothing but health and love for all of you guys. Have a great day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.